good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on wherever you are watching us from. And then welcome to the conversation on today's topic of the conversation with David. Now, Simon Ekpa has given the federal government three, he has told them three things that the federal government needs to do before he can dialogue with them. But most persons have come out to say that it is high time the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, needs to have to negotiate with Simon Ekpa because knowing fully well that Biafra is an ideology, and then when you have an ideology, it runs down into the mindset of the people. So even if Nnamdi Kanu was being arrested or was being kidnapped as alleged by the federal government, now we've seen that Simon Ekpa has also taken that charge for him to command the Biafra agitation. Now, the likes of Shore, Wole Soyinka, and co have called on the federal government, and the likes of Professor Wole Soyinka have told the federal government it is time you need to negotiate with Simon Ekpa, because now Simon Ekpa has told the federal government that before he would sit down and negotiate, first thing he listed three things, and which he has alleged three things. First is the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Now, that is a very good offer from Simon Ekpa. He has told the federal government that before anything is being done, before he can sit on the round table to discuss, to put an end to this crisis of Biafra and the agitation, they said Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released. Now, we've heard that different courts have given injunctions, have given verdicts citing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu detention as illegal in the court. But now we are in a country whereby the rule of law is not always obeyed. Now we've seen Justice Imita Nyako she has received the backlash from government, whereby she has received the backlash from most persons who have called her to say that she is being used as a toy to keep Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in prison illegally. We've seen that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, as on Friday, went to the appeal court and said, and then challenged his illegal detention in court. So that is a welcome development. But just because we are in a state whereby people cannot even, Nigerian government don't even listen. Nigerian government don't listen to the rule of law, and they don't also obey the rule of law. That is why we've seen so many persons coming out to agitate. And then one thing the government has failed to understand that what brings about agitation. Someone else said it, that what brings about this issue of agitation is because his own tribe, which is the Igbo tribe, have not been treated fairly in the so-called, according to Simon Ekpa, he said in the so-called one Nigeria. And that is why he felt it is time for him to pull out his people from this contraption called Nigeria. And let's not forget that, see, when the colonial masters mixed us, amalgamated us together in 1914, there was a clause that says that after 100 years, if we can no longer stay together, we can part ways, and that is the stance. And then if you look at the UN self-chartered, it says it gives room for what? Agitation. So Nigerian government at this point should bring down their egos and listen and then not prescribe hyper terrorists. Look at what bandits is doing. Look at what ISWAP is doing in the northern part of the region. Now, the federal government has not for one day prescribed them terrorists, but the federal government was very quick and fast to proscribe IPOP terrorists. These are people who are fighting for their own self agitation. These are people who felt they are tired of this contraption and they want their own freedom. Why don't you let them go? Now, someone has also come out to say that Nigerian government cannot defeat them the second time with a barrel of gun. It shows that in this point in time, if the way Odumegu Ojukwu fought Biafra would be very different, would be so different from what Samonepa and the likes of Nnamdi Kanu are doing. You've seen that Nnamdi Kanu and Samonepa have bringing innovations to this struggle of Biafra without scarring harms, without causing me harms or inflicting pains in the people. They have been doing it via the UN, United Nations Charter, and which the federal government too need to acknowledge that everyone has the right for self-determination. And secondly, also he has also warned the federal government that the federal government should withdraw the military men in the east, in the eastern part of the country. He said these military men are really causing havoc in that region, killing innocent people within the region. He has told them that the second one, that if you want the Biafra government in exile and the Nigerian government to negotiate, withdraw the Nigerian military men in the eastern part of the country. And now the federal government has not replied to what Samonepa has said. The federal government is yet to respond or to reply to what Samonepa has said. But one thing I want to say is that even where areas, region that is a volatile region, a hostile region, which has to do with the northern regions, there are no soldiers, there are no checkpoints in that place. Are you telling me that Zamfara is not a safe place for people to go? Plateau killings, Benue State killings, but why have the military refused to mount checkpoints in those places? Just because some group, and then a particular region is fighting for their freedom, from the exit from Nigeria. They feel they can retrench them by bringing soldiers to intimidate these people. One thing the government has failed to understand is that this issue of Biafra is an ideology. Look at Ojukwu fought it almost 35 years ago or thereabouts. And how old was Samonepa and Nnamdi Kanu when Ojukwu fought for the Biafra struggle? And now it has sprung up again. Now Nnamdi Kanu took that course upon himself to also liberate the people because of this Fulani elders killing in Nigeria. I feel this is what government needs to address. Elders clash, whereby people go around with their grazing, people go around with their cow, killing people, and then this is what Nnamdi Kanu has always stood for. He said Fulani does not have monopoly to kill his people. If you want to graze your cow can be grazed in a confined environment. Cow, look at how Holland is processing ranching in a confined place. When you go to this developed world, you don't move cows from one spot to the other spot. Cows are being placed in a particular place for them to be ranched. But that is what Samonepa and Nnamdi Kanu have said, that if Fulani men are killing our people, we cannot sit down and watch them kill our people. So if the government feel they cannot protect the people they claim to protect, then let the Biafran nation go. Let the Biafran nation go. Now, and then lastly, he has said if he should dialogue with the federal government, He said the the Finland government, the Finnish government would be on ground for him, would be a signatory of any treaty that will come up, that will emerge, or that will take place between himself and the Nigerian government. Just like we all know that, just like what we know, that he has been declared wanted. Simon Ekpa has been declared wanted by the federal government by saying Simon Ekpa has been the cause of the insecurity in the eastern region. And now he has come out to say that if you want to dialogue, now the Finnish government needs to be a signatory to whatsoever that will happen in between the conversation. Now the question is government on their own willing to shoot this shot? Is President Tinubu willing to take this offer to dialogue with Simon Ekpa, to talk? Lots of Wole Soyinka have told them to dialogue with Simon Ekpa, because the federal government cannot continue to always fight the people he claim he wants to govern. And now what the federal government has failed to understand is that what is the cause of agitation? Something must have bring up the issue of agitation. And now what brought up this issue of agitation? It is when this set of people, this tribe has been sidelined. This tribe have been so aggrieved that in this contraption called Nigeria, they have been sidelined. They have no sense of belonging in the country. And then if they have no sense of belonging in the country, and then if you feel you don't want them to be part of the ends of affairs controlling the affairs of the country, why don't you let them go? Yes, if you feel you are fed up and tired of the Igbo, let them go, let them be. That is the way. Or if you feel you don't want to let them go, why don't you call a round table meeting, fashion a way out to solve this issue of this agitation? Even if today Simon Ekpa has been arrested, we have hundreds of Simon Ekpa, we have hundreds of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Just because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now are championing the cause does not mean that if government arrest Simon Ekpa, sorry, if government arrest now government has arrested Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now if government arrest Simon Ekpa, another person will still come up and champion this cause of Biafra, because it is an ideology that has been built, that has been programmed inside of an average Igbo man. So these are things we are appealing to the government to look at the demands Simon Ekpa has thrown to the government, to accept this offer and then dialogue with him and look for a way to stop this issue of declaring wanted, instant killing, and then look for a way to make this tribe have a sense of belonging in the society and in Nigeria at large.